Every high-performing founder I've ever met has one thing in common. And it's not a great market, it's not a great team, it's not even a great product. They have a small group of people around them who know their business, who know their tendencies, and will not let them off the hook. A board member, a peer group, a mastermind. The form is always a little bit different, but the function is the same. It's someone on the outside who can see what you're doing on the inside. And this is not just like a nice to have thing. For the founders that I've really seen break through, this is like the thing, and for many of them, the reason that they were able to get to the next stage. So I want to say something that most founders won't really say out loud, and it's that leadership is incredibly lonely and it's super isolated. You cannot just share everything that's going on in your head and in your heart with your team, because the outcome of a lot of these things is going to directly affect them. So it's awkward to talk about this stuff with your team. You also can't always share this information with investors because they're evaluating your performance. And you can't share it with your customers because it's going to decrease their confidence in you if something is going wrong. So most founders just absorb this. They carry the weight of all the big decisions and the stresses of leadership on their shoulders completely alone. Our research found that over half of CEOs and founders reported feeling isolated in their role, and 61% reported that it impacted their performance. That's not just a personality trait. That's a function of the seat of leadership. So I want to give you 3 things that peer advisory actually does. We've built the arena around these 3 principles, and there's 3 benefits that you will get anytime you join a great group of peer leaders. Number 1, it gives you a room where people actually know you and your business. This is not like a goofy networking group where you hand out your business cards and hope to get a sale and then leave and never talk to people again. This is a group of people that week over week, month over month, are going to get to know you and get to know your business so they can speak into it. They heard you speak last month. They heard you speak this month. Now they can really cut into the issues that you're talking about and give you advice that's highly informed by context on your company. And that depth of context over time is the thing that separates maybe some good sounding advice from some advice that you actually need that is going to help you solve the issue that you're facing. The second thing a peer group does is it's going to give you accountability that sticks. Accountability is a word that gets super overused. Let me explain to you what accountability looks and sounds like in practice. So a member of one of our groups was avoiding having a conversation with a client. Now he knew he needed to raise his prices on this client by about 40% and didn't want to do it. Obviously, it's awkward. He didn't want to have the conversation. But he shared that with the group. The group spoke into it. They affirmed that is indeed what he needed to do, and they sent him out for the next month. They affirmed that that was indeed what he needed to do, and so he made the commitment at that meeting to do it. He came back the next month and he actually did it. He told us that he shared with the client. He raised the revenue 40%. The client didn't even blink. They started paying his new rate, and he confessed to us that's something that he should have done 6 months ago. And chances are, if he didn't have a peer group, he probably would have never done it. So that's what accountability actually does. It covers that gap between knowing you need to do something and actually doing it, because you know that other people are going to ask you about it. Founders don't lack information. They lack having someone else in the room who asks them if they did what they said they were going to do. And that's accountability. The third thing that a peer group will do is it gives you a mirror. Now this one's harder to quantify, but it actually might be the most valuable. When you're working day to day in your business, you're going to develop blind spots that are really hard for you on your own to identify. So you have this internal narrative about why things in the business aren't working, and those things just become the primary narrative, and you get stuck in your problems. So a good peer group is going to hand you a mirror. They're literally going to hold it up in front of you and say, objectively, this is what we see. No judgment, but there's some things that we can see about you that maybe you don't even see about yourself. One of our members described it this way, quote, "My group sees me more clearly than me, and not because they're smarter than me, but because they can see what's on the outside, not just what's in my own head." When a peer group gives you a mirror, it's a great gift because it gives you the opportunity to grow and get better as a leader. So who are peer groups for? Well, I want to be honest with you, they're not for everyone. So I want to be upfront about who peer advisory is not for. It's not for founders who just want to vent but not take any action to fix their problems. It's not for people who just are looking for validation about themselves and about their business. And it's definitely not for people who are not willing to be honest about what's actually happening day to day in their company. The real founders who get the most out of peer advisory, they show up with a real problem, a willingness to be challenged, and the discipline to act on what the room tells them, even when it's uncomfortable. If that's you, this will become your highest leverage day of every single month. If you're looking for a room of people who will just tell you that you're doing great all the time, this isn't the place for you. We run peer advisory in two formats in the arena. Core groups are for companies doing $500,000 to $2 million in revenue. They're led by an expert facilitator, and it's $597 per month. Our peer groups are for companies doing $2 to $20 million in annual revenue, and they're led at the senior level, and they're $1,000 per month. And both of them operate on the same principles: a small room with high trust and real accountability with other leaders who are facing the exact same thing that you are. The biggest value of a great peer group that's carefully crafted is you're getting in the room with the right people. And that is something AI cannot do for you. If you've been thinking about peer advisory and actually getting around other leaders who are facing the same problems, the best first step is for you to take the executive flow assessment. That will show you where your number one constraint is in your business, and that'll tee us up to have a conversation about what is the best fit for you when it comes to peer advisory. Link is in the description.